Hi, I'm Dave Van Oss, Agricultural Markets Manager for Libro Credit Union. Libro is very excited to be this year's presenting sponsor for the Virtual Outdoor Farm Show. We truly hope that your farm business finds great value with this upcoming session.
I'm John Gregg, editor of Farmtaria. There have been some high-profile computer data security breaches in agriculture around the world and in Ontario recently. That means that farmers, often working in rural settings, aren't immune to being taken advantage of by cyber criminals. Ali Dehghantanha is director of the Cybersecurity Lab and professor of cybersecurity at the University of Guelph. He's looked at farmers and their use of cybersecurity, and he joins us in this session to talk about how farmers can better protect their computers and their technology. Welcome to Canada's Digital Farm Show, Ali.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
Good. So tell me, how well are farmers managing their data and computer security from some of the work you've done?
Well, unfortunately, not that well, I would say, not comparable with standards, industrial standards that we have in cybersecurity in other fields like financial sector, even other critical infrastructure, so it's comparable to the agriculture. And even this is not even considered as one of the significant issues on the top 10 list of farmers, unfortunately, at the moment. That provides many opportunities for the attackers, as you just mentioned in your introduction.
And so from some of the conversations you've had with farmers, what is their approach at this point to cybersecurity?
At the moment, most of the farmers are relying on device manufacturers to provide some degree of cybersecurity. Unfortunately, many of these manufacturers are either not having any cybersecurity or protection in place, or even what they have are just like totally separated island systems that provide a lot of gaps in between to get access to the data or compromise the network, which are used for collecting or processing the data, the farmers' data. That provides many opportunities for the attack. And
so essentially farmers some of them will use their the virus scanners, say, that come with their computer. Is that kind of the level that they're at?
That's right. What I have seen was actually a kind of all range of issues, from computers that have not been updated. I have even seen Windows XP machines that are used on the field, still used on the field to store the data, that you can't do much. Even if you put all the patches, the operating system itself is vulnerable. Ranging from that to those who were using free antiviruses, which are expired, and even those who are using antivirus, but they never care about the alerts that are raised by those AVs, and they take no action. There is no one taking action. And even I have seen systems that have like latest antivirus and latest operating system, but then there are some remote VPN connections that can be made to these for remote monitoring, and those connections are totally insecure, which actually provides the backdoor for all the attackers to get access to this system. The main issue is we do not have any standard or audit requirement in the field that would provide some basic level of cybersecurity in the farm sector. We have seen the impact of this industry standard or government requirements in other sectors like financial sector, insurance sector, critical infrastructure sector, that's heavily increased the cybersecurity posture in each of these businesses. And that's a significant gap in the agriculture at the moment. There is no requirement and there is no compliance requirement, and hence it's very difficult to set a picture of the baseline for cybersecurity in this sector.
The other sectors that have done better in this area, has that been government driven or has it been driven from within the sector?
It kind of depends on the role of the sector. So for example, in insurance and financial sector, you would say it was totally industry driven because the loss were tangible to the industry and to the product owners very well. But then when you look into the other sectors like power sector, electricity sector, that's the cybersecurity requirement was mandated by a group which is supported by the government, because a failure on those systems would impact everyone. I would say agriculture is pretty much comparable with the power grid sector. They are providing critical services to the society, and we require cybersecurity mandates from governments to guarantee at least a basic level of cybersecurity in the field.
So if a farmer has some concern about this, what are the first steps they need to take?
Well, in my conversation with farmers, data privacy and hacking, attacking, opportunistic hacking or attackers were the most important concerns that they had. I totally understand both of them, because even attacker can get access and change the temperature of one of their farming environment, just kill the birds or kill the environment that they have, cause significant damage. And data privacy is clear. No one would like to lose those important farming data. So those were the top two concerns in my conversation with most of the farmers. And what they could do is first require or demand from their solution providers to report on the cybersecurity aspects of their product. If the market demands goes higher and higher, we would see some reactions by the solution providers eventually. That's first thing. Second is, especially those societies or those farmers group that are sitting together and talking about the industry practices may want to consider cybersecurity in their top list of issues to be addressed ASAP. By doing that, they will increase awareness among the farmers and awareness among the end users. And thirdly, all farmers should understand that securing their data is their responsibility, not the manufacturer responsibility. That's the case in almost all enterprise environments. Even if you purchase a laptop, purchase a server, purchase a solution, you can have all of them in your environment, but you are eventually responsible for your cybersecurity and putting your data. That's something unfortunately missing in ag sector, which people believe that once they purchase a product or put something in place, that manufacturer or that provider is responsible. That's not the case. Cybersecurity is always a responsibility, and you would be liable if any private information or identifiable information is compromised through your environment.
And how important is employee training?
Well, it plays a very significant role. We have seen many even high-profile attacks which were started by luring employees clicking on the link, and those employees would have access to the environment anyway and let the attackers to get in. So general awareness, and specifically employee awareness, plays a significant role in reducing the number of attacks in the field. However, we would need security monitoring solutions to be deployed on those environments as well. One of the biggest challenges these days is even if the farmers are compromised, they don't know they have been compromised. So when you talk to them, they said that we have never seen or we have never been attacked. But when I do a deep down investigation, I keep finding tracks of hacking teams or hacking groups which were on their system, exfiltrating information or monitoring the data, and they are just simply not aware of it, right? So while employee awareness and training is important, it is even more important that we have a proper security monitoring solution in place. So we understand what is happening, if they are targeted and how they are targeted. So then the training programs can be, I would say, tailored to the needs of the environment based on the attackers that are interested in compromising those environments.
So if a hacker, or not so even a hacker, just a piece of software has ended up on your computer, what's the risk? And they haven't done anything so far. What could the future risks be?
Well, I would say we would see wave of ransomware attacks targeting agriculture sectors one after the other. And the main reason for that is ransomwares are kind of simple malwares, which are mainly used by, I would say, low-level cyber criminals. So it's easy to develop. And since they are in the same environment with the farmers, they know the vulnerability of the farmers. They know which farms to target. And it is kind of easy to just make the people to pay for them, right? So that would be, I would say, the most significant and urgent issue, cybersecurity issue for many farmers. And usually for these ransomwares to work, the farmers or the employees need to click or download a file, right? So by observing by receiving communications from unknown people, clicking on the link or downloading files, they are providing remote access to the attackers to just encrypt the machine and then ask for ransom to just possibly decrypting and providing the information. So what they need to do is immediately, if they observe anything out of norm, contact cybersecurity people for help, right? Because you never know what's the scale of the attack and what the attacker is looking for on your machines.
And what are the warning signs that your data might have been compromised?
The most obvious one is someday you may just turn on your computer and you see a message from the attackers on the screen that all your data is encrypted and you need to pay the ransom, right? But that's somehow very late to ask for help. Usually what is happening prior to that is you would receive some messages from unknown resources. You would see the employees are opening those emails or messages or clicking on the links, right? And you may even see connections from a well-known hacking infrastructure to that farming environment. And as I told you, unfortunately, because of lack of security monitoring in many of these environments, catching these things before they cause an obvious damage is quite unlikely these days in the farming sector, right? And these days, I receive many contacts from the farmers who have been already compromised or who are already in trouble, right? And we can just do a limited things to support them. But generally speaking, as I said earlier, I would recommend strongly to the farmers to look into the security monitoring solutions, even working with third-party security companies who are doing this as a security as a service kind of product, right? To just keep monitoring their data, and they would get these alerts fairly early before they cause significant damage. And one more thing is, I'm hearing this from the farmers a lot as well, that I am not in the interest of any hacking group. That's not true. If you make money, you are definitely in the interest of the hacking teams, right? So don't think that even if you are a small farmer, they are going to just not drop the ransomware on your machine and ask for payments. That's the basic one that they can do.
Yeah, and that was going to be my next question is, why would cyber criminals be interested in farmers? And as you said, the farmers say, we're out here in the country, we're not a huge business. Why would they be interested in us?
Well, again, in our research of monitoring different hacking groups all around the globe, we find different interests in the farming sector. First, we are talking about the low-level hacking teams that they just want to put the ransomware and encrypt and get the money. That's the most basic type of attack, and you can understand the reason easily, right? If you're a farmer and you make the money, if you're a citizen and you make the money, you definitely be considered as a target, right? So the second layer are those who are interested in stealing your private information. It could be the credit card data that you have, to say your farming schedule, the type of soil that you have, or all those products that you use for your farming that can be sold in the black market. That's the second layer of the attackers that are targeting the farming environment. And I'm seeing a lot of increase on this second type of attack, right? And the third types of attacks are APT groups, advanced persistent threat actors, that are interested in targeting a national critical infrastructure so they can disrupt a nation in the time of conflict. And again, especially in European countries, this is growing so fast. We are seeing many APT groups trying to target a smart and precision farming infrastructure to get an advantage at the time of conflict, right? So by saying that, you would see that all levels of the hackers, from those small single workers, lone wolf hackers, up until the very advanced government-sponsored hacking teams, are interested to target the agriculture infrastructure, right? I am setting aside the scenarios that you just have a competitor, and that competitor is hiring an attacker to just disrupt your business, right? Just put those things aside. We can just look into these three scenarios and clearly and obviously seeing a strong interest in the hacking community on vulnerabilities in the agriculture sector.
And are there places in the world where the agriculture sector has done well at reducing or increasing their cybersecurity?
Yeah, Netherlands specifically, they have been targeted a lot and they have done a fantastic job. You will see most of the farms there are now monitored by obviously educated cybersecurity professionals. I saw a lot of movements there in terms of cybersecurity. Australia, somehow you will see some big farming organizations are deploying a proper security monitoring solutions and defense solutions all around the farms that they have, from the time that data is collected up until it's analyzed and then discarded. We need to have proper security process in place. But I mean, in Canada, we are very behind in terms of security monitoring or even understanding the critical need at the moment to protect the farmers against cyber threats.
All right. And is there anything else you think farmers should know about cybersecurity that we haven't covered?
I mean, like any other citizen, it is always good to follow the cyber hygiene rules. Change your passwords often, make sure that your softwares are up to date, and do not accept contacts from unknown people online. So that will be applicable to all citizens, including farmers. But specifically for the farmers, I would encourage them to take cybersecurity as an important risk to their business. You may just wake up one day and see all your data are encrypted, right? You may just wake up one day and see all your birds have been killed last night just because of someone tried to play around with your thermostat, right? So don't underestimate that. And if you see anything out of norm, contact cybersecurity people, right? You may just find a tale of a very significant attack, right? And you could be quite a help to the cybersecurity community as well as the farming community by working with cybersecurity specialists, trying to find the details and get to the root cause of the attacks.
Okay, that's great, and I appreciate you, summarizing that for us. I think it's not something that's necessarily top of mind for everybody in agriculture, but perhaps it should be.
Sure. Yeah. Looking forward to that day.
Okay, and thanks very much, and thanks for taking the time.
Thank you, and have a great day.